So I just finished the Icemans Inheritance, and I really like the book. I'm not going to get into depth of everything that I learned in it just yet, but he did speak about species, and it kind of raised a question for me. So I wanted to bring it up. So first, I'm going to basically say or give you what he said about species. By he, I mean Michael Bradley, the man who wrote the book Iceman Inheritance. So he goes on to say, species don't evolve as a unit, but it evolves by activity of its component parts through the medium of its races. A species is an assemblage of individuals or groups sharing genetic characteristics and varying, but sufficiently alike to be interfertile. A subspecies or race represents slightly different genetic expressions, right? So essentially saying that species is a big group, right? And there might be subspecies or subparts of this big group that go through things that cause it to evolve and have genetic characteristics that differ from other parts of that big group. But the thing that makes them a species, which is grouped together, is their ability to reproduce together, right? And that the things that differ these groups are genetic expressions, right? And so what we do see around the world is that these different races tend to actually be direct expressions of their climates, their biomes, things like that. And something else that you see, especially when he starts talking about like Neanderthal sex dimorphism, is that the differentiation between how genetics manifest depending on sex, right, can also cause for these different groups under this big group to look different and to have different genetic expressions of the same species. And essentially, basically, it's like, men and women are just as different from each other as races are from each other. They're just two different expressions of the same natural phenomena. And so what is the natural phenomena that different races are expressions of? They're different expressions of climate, or let's say different expressions of climate, different expressions of biomes, different expressions of ecosystems. There it is, that's the word. And genders or sexes are different expressions of the creation energy, the masculine and feminine energy, because people tend to think masculine and feminine, they're just two completely different energies, but really they're the push-pull of the same energy, and that same energy is the creation energy. The feminine energy is the negative pull, and the masculine energy is the positive push. So the core of the earth would be the feminine creation energy compared to the sun, which allows us to go outward, right? That's why the sun, the father, and mother nature. But it allows us to go outward, but it also allows us to go outward because it is the center of the gravity of our entire solar system. So it both holds a masculine and feminine energy to it. A masculine energy pulse, not a pulse, it's I want to say pull, but it's like an energy, But, those are just some thoughts that came to my mind, because folks don't really understand feminine and masculine energy. And I've been really trying to wrap my head around how I conceptualize it, because that's why it's important for us to all be able to dominate the masculine and feminine energy within us, because it allows us to be complete. We need to have a perfect balance of knowing how to hone a healthy home, right, and be a nurturer to ourselves, so that we can then be nurturers to people around us, while also being able to be protective and being able to encourage discovery so that we can encourage discovery for ourselves. Because you could be somebody who goes out to discover, but you don't have to be somebody who lives outside. It's important to also be somebody who has a home and has a grounding center. So it's important to dominate that balance, and that's how you create. Funny enough, creation happens in the ultimate space of moderation. It's quite interesting. I'm gonna leave that there because this could get really, really, really long.